So, I disinvited my adopted sister to my wedding, and I truly don't believe we'll ever speak together again. This is kind of toxic, guys, but here's what happened. I'm the youngest of two children. My parents always wanted a big family, but they had a string of miscarriages. So, they turned to adoption. They had a baby girl through a closed adoption. 7 months after they adopted my sister, they conceived me. My parents said I was truly a miracle baby. For context, my parents and I are white, my sister is Hispanic and black. Growing up, my sister and I were best friends. We did everything together, and people said we acted like twins. We stayed best friends until adulthood, until she found her biological family. At first, I was happy for her. My sister always said that she felt like something was missing, and finding her family seemed to be the missing piece. But then she started to treat my parents differently. She would constantly berate them for choosing to adopt because she said adoption, especially transracial adoption, was wrong. She said that the experience was traumatizing to her and that she wasn't properly prepared for being a POC due to their color blindness. I stayed out of it because her relationship with my parents was not my business. But when she made my mom cry, after a particularly cruel remark, I started distancing myself from her. For context, she said that they should have gotten therapy for their infertility instead of becoming baby snatchers. Even though we weren't friends anymore, I could not imagine severing the relationship, and I definitely could not imagine disinviting her from my wedding. She was the one who introduced me to my fiancé after all, so I told myself that she was my sister no matter what, and kept her as my maid of honor. I changed my mind after she posted a picture of herself with her biological siblings, with the caption being, "It's been such a relief to find my real family. I finally feel like I'm home." Well, I was beyond upset. I never ever thought of her as anything less than my sister, but apparently I was never a sister to her. I didn't trust myself to call her, so I sent her a text saying this: "Since you don't see me as your real sister, there's no reason for you and her boyfriend's name to come to my wedding." I then blocked her number after I sent it. She blocked me on everything in response. Our mutual friends are telling me that she's calling me a racist. I don't think there's any way to come back from this. I'm heartbroken after losing my sister, and I'm heartbroken that I never had one in the first place. Okay guys, Mr. Reddito here. So there's a small update for this story. I hope you guys are having a great day. This update came out 4 days after the original post. It's a small update, but here it is. After my last post, I got comments in DMs saying that I should not have reconciled with her. Well, I should have listened. Yesterday, my parents offered to treat us to dinner. I couldn't make it, but my sister decided to go. From what my mom told me, the topic of my sister's adoption came up. They got into a fight about it in the middle of a crowded restaurant. It ended after my sister said that my parents should have accepted that their miscarriages were a sign from God, that they weren't meant to be parents. For context, my parents are very religious. Growing up, they told us that God got them through the heartbreak of those miscarriages. My parents, they're not perfect, but they did not deserve that. Nobody does. I'm tired of making excuses for my sister. I'm tired of being sympathetic to her trauma when she weaponizes it to hurt others. I'm done. I should have been done after the baby snatching comment, which made my mom cry. She's not in my life anymore, and I'm trying to convince my parents to do the same. I sent her one final text that read, "I can't believe you would say that to Mom. What the duck is wrong with you? Don't contact me again. Go be with your real family and leave us the hell alone." Okay guys, so that was a rather sad story. Let's read a couple comments. I don't even know what to think. It seems that they all need therapy, but the adopted daughter really needs to talk to someone. Man, what a sad post. Guys, let me know your thoughts on that. What would you do if you were in OP's position and this was happening to your family? Drop your comments down below, guys. Story number 2. After almost 3 years, OP updates on husband who expects equality in expense sharing. Hey y'all, for reference, I'm 29 female and my husband's 30. We've been together since I was 20 and got married at 26. When we moved in together, I was 25. We were splitting our rent evenly. I was making $65K a year, he was making 80. And we do live in a large US city. It didn't really make a huge difference in my budget versus his to split 50-50. The rent was $2,600 a month, so... However, things changed. I got pregnant a few months after we got married, which we were so happy about and wanted. I didn't want to not work, but I wanted to be home with our baby, so I found a full-time remote job in my field of work. The downside is I took a cut to my salary from $65K to $50K. We continued to split rent in our apartment. My husband, between being 26 and 30, has received a number of raises and has switched his job. He's now a senior business analyst making roughly $200,000 a year. Since we were having a child, we were going to need a bigger apartment. We found a 3-bedroom for $400,000. He still wanted to split rent evenly despite my protest and despite me wanting to try to find a smaller apartment for less. In the end, I sort of let myself get walked over because he really is such a smooth talker and I love him. Anyways, flash forward 2.5 years, our rent has increased to $4,400 a month. My take-home pay monthly after taxes is roughly $3,600. I'm paying $2.2K in monthly rent. I'm also taking care of our baby and our home, doing chores and cooking daily. My husband works from 8 to 6, but typically doesn't get home until 7. Well, I'm burnt out. I barely have enough money per month to do things I enjoy. I feel like I'm financially struggling while my husband's living a life of luxury. Yeah, he does take me out on dates and on vacation, but he doesn't seem to understand that this is not enough for me. I spoke to him 2 days ago very seriously, and when I asked about trying to split rent based on our income and pay an equal percentage of our income so that it's more fair than fully equal, his reaction stunned me. He asked me why having $1.6K extra a month wasn't enough for me. I told him I'm not saving anything. He told me I should spend less on extracurricular activities, which makes me laugh because what activities is he even talking about? All I do is work, clean, shop for the house, and raise our kid. I told him I'm basically working 2 full-time jobs at once and I just need some help. Then he asked me if I'm suggesting he pays me for being a mother and stunned me. I really had no response to that. Anyways, he told me that this is the lifestyle we agreed when we moved in together way back when. However, he doesn't seem to comprehend, or rather does not want to understand. Now he's mad with me because he thinks I'm being selfish and has been acting cold to me these past few days. I am getting the itch to apologize and take it back like I always do, but I really feel like I'm the one that's right here. Am I the a-hole in this situation? What's up guys, Mr. Reddito here. So the verdict on the original thread was OP, you are not the a-hole, and the comments were pretty overwhelming in support of OP. However, it seemed like after that, OP did not give us an update. Well, that is, until 3 years later. Guys, I have a complete update for you that came out almost exactly 3 years after the original post, and let's see what the heck's been going on. I sincerely apologize for taking so long to return and write an update for this. A lot's happened. For those who don't know, this post was originally written at the end of February 2020. The world, therefore, after, fell apart. Things were not good with me and my husband at the time of this post. I want to preface this by saying that we're still together to this day, and we've welcomed a new child to the world, this time in a much healthier environment. COVID changed a lot for me, along with the intense virality of the last post. Neither my husband or I got laid off or furloughed, and we were so thankful, but my husband moved to work from home. That perspective shift changed a lot for him when he says that what I deal with day to day, things I could never properly communicate about how difficult it is to work while raising a child and what I brought to the table that he could never see. Despite his newfound appreciation for me, I still found myself resenting him. It was in June. I finally proposed that we go to couples counseling, after doing my own virtual therapy session since March, from which I learned about why I let people step over me based on my childhood and past, and how to overcome that. To my surprise, my husband agreed, and so we've been in a weekly counseling since, even to this day. It helped him get to the root of his fears and address why he has a trouble time trusting me financially, which had less to do with me and more to do with what he brought up believing and had been instilled with in his mind. After coming to the point of telling him I would not want to continue building a family or a life with him where we watched me struggle from luxury, with the help of our amazing counselor who guided us, of course. Well, my husband was willing to adjust our lifestyle to be more equal. I'm not saying everything was or is magically just perfect now. I know people wanted an update where I left my evil husband and took my baby to start a new life. But I did marry this man for a reason, after all. I saw the good and past the struggles that we've had to overcome. He's become the man that I knew I'd married. We now have a joint bank account as well as our own on the side. We each put 2/3 of our income into the shared account and keep 1/3 for ourselves. I am in a new job now and making much more money than in the original post. Not that this affects the relationship, but so people know my 1/3 is enough for me to enjoy. It's still a road to recovery, but we have more trust between us and no longer living a 50-50 lifestyle. Again, I'm sorry for not updating sooner, but the past 2 years have been a lot for us. Well, and for everyone. Thank you all for the support and advice. I promise I would not be sitting here typing this without it. Have you guys gone through anything like this in your relationships? Drop down below and let's talk about it. The top comment for this post says this: she may have agreed to the 50-50 lifestyle and having a baby, but did she agree to be the only one cooking for the family, cleaning for the family, doing laundry? All of that's free labor if he was taking advantage of. Had I seen her original post, I would have suggested that she makes him consider those hours in lieu of some of her contribution. So guys, let me know. How would you handle this in your relationship if this was happening to you? The third and final story we're going to look at is an Am I the A-hole? Am I the a-hole for accepting my family's Christmas invitation despite my husband not being invited? I'm 32 female. I met this wonderful man, Philip. He's 36, 2 years ago. We got married 4 months ago. For context, I have a 10-year-old son, Billy, from a previous relationship, and my ex is not in the picture. I have to admit that Philip's relationship with my family is not so great. They would disagree on a lot of things. For example, he had an argument with my dad when he said that he was keeping their grandson away from them, but Philip stated he wasn't, and that he could not visit with Billy because he had work. The latest argument was what made things worse. My mom and sister were discussing natural remedies, they're into that kind of thing, for my niece and Philip, he's a pediatrician by the way, called both of them ignorant for not using meds instead, which caused a huge argument and Philip being no longer welcome at my parents' house. Now, they'd sent me and Billy an invitation for Christmas, but did not include Philip, which I expected given how strained their relationship has become. I called my mom to confirm that I'll attend, but the minute Philip found out, he went off, saying he could not believe I was fine with my family excluding him, and then agreed to go and leave him behind. I told him it's their celebration and I don't get to decide their guest list for them, and also I'm not leaving him behind because we did not have any plans for Christmas. He said he thought that we'd automatically just celebrate together, the three of us, but now I'm taking Billy away from him as well. I thought that was a bit melodramatic, because it's literally just for a few hours at my parents' house, but he insisted it was about the principle and, well, respect. We had a big argument, and I said that he basically alienated himself by continuously picking arguments with my family. But he started ranting, saying it wasn't about the fact that they did not invite him, but the fact that I was willing to let him spend Christmas alone, without me and Billy in a cold house. We went back and forth on the issue, but did not seem to reach a solution. My parents are used to spending every major holiday with little Billy, so you can see how much pressure I'm getting from both sides here. Seems like Phillips bit off more than he can chew. Here's one of the top comments. Mostly everyone in the comment section is telling OP, yes, you are the a-hole and here's the reasonings. Number 1. Your dad picked a fight because he had to work and you did not defend him. 2. You're encouraging your mom to be an idiot and not be knowledgeable on medications and wanting to do natural healing when your husband, as a medical professional, stated the facts. You let them be terrible to him. You think it's okay to leave your husband alone on Christmas because they're being horrible to him, and I'd be upset to you or not doing anything to defend him when he's done nothing wrong. Guys, I'm going to have to say I agree with that comment. I cannot imagine leaving him alone on Christmas. Drop your thoughts down below. If you don't agree with me, that's cool. I just want to hear your opinion on it. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. Have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you in the next one.